It's 7:01, so whenever you're ready, Mayor.
Okay, I'd like to call this meeting officially to order. I would ask everyone to please stand for a moment of silent prayer and/or reflection as we think about the 43 individuals and their family members who have passed from COVID-19 in our community. Salute the flag, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty,
justice.
Thank you. The New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and attend any meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interest is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with this act, the Mayor and Council of the Borough of New Milford have caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place thereof posted in the Borough Hall, and notices have been sent to the Record and the Ridgewood News. The mission of this governing body is to provide essential services through the establishment and implementation of public policy that will safeguard the infrastructure, provide fair, honest, courteous, and professional services, establish a sense of trust and accomplishment between all residents, and through research and prudent planning, seek to minimize risk while improving our services. We are sensitive to the needs and satisfaction of our taxpayers, while realizing that this governing body cannot be all things to all people within the revenue constraints imposed by state mandates, economic conditions, and prevailing attitudes about taxation. Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Yes. Councilwoman Sarafi Hurley.
Present.
Councilman Seymour.
Present.
Councilwoman Duffy.
Here.
Council President Grotzky.
Here.
Councilwoman Sandhusen. Yeah, here but muted. Yes. Councilwoman Graham.
Here.
Mayor Pacino.
Here. Okay, under unfinished business, can I get a motion for the approval of the minutes of the June 22nd, 2020 work and public session meetings?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. So under new business, item number 1 is police department staffing. The borough has the opportunity to hire 3 officers, and we're going to turn it over to Councilman Grotzky, who's the police liaison, to start it off for us, and then he's going to introduce the chief.
Okay, as we all know, we're down 2 police officers as of right now. At the end of August, Daryl Marshall will be leaving also. So we've had the opportunity to hire 3 police officers right now, one of which will be a female, one of which is, I believe, of Indian descent, and one is, I believe, Irish, which is going to fit in very well to our police department. And I leave that up to the chief to further discuss.
Okay, so I'll just give you a little background on how we got to where we are picking these 3 individuals, candidates, we usually call them. We announced the hiring pre-COVID, put out a blast to police departments, and we put it out there that, you know, we were looking for certified or class 2 officers. A class 2 officer is basically a full police officer. That get hired in like shore towns and stuff. They do everything that we do, but they need like 1 or 2 more classes to be a full police officer, and it's a very easy hire. So we were looking for something like that also. So we put out the announcement. We received probably 70 or 80 resumes.
Wow.
And then we left it alone because COVID hit. But I, during that time, because, you know, things were slow, there wasn't much going on the other end of everything. I went over all the resumes and we chose who to send applications to. We sent out probably 40 or 50 applications. They come back, we review them. I formed a hiring committee, which is what we normally do. It includes me, Captain Jones, Captain Doobie, and three most senior lieutenants, total of 6. When the applications are returned, we go through them and we decide who we want to interview. We did 18 interviews. That took a while. Over 3 days, we did 18 interviews, and about 5 people really stood out, and we all agreed. During interviews, we have a standard set of questioning that we score the candidates on, all 6 of us in the room, and then we average the scores at the end, and we create a list. Now, that list is always subject to change based on backgrounds and things like that, but we formed a list of the top 8 people, and we did 8 thorough background checks on the top 8 candidates. The background checks are very thorough. It's a 60-plus page questionnaire. We review their criminal history, their motor vehicle history. We do credit checks. We review college and high school transcripts. We interview family, friends, relatives, and any references they listed. And since they all are currently, our top 3 are currently employed by other police departments, we go and speak to their supervisors and coworkers and bosses. We also review their personnel files and their internal affairs files, which we have access to. Our top 3 in this case were Amandeep Singh, who is a 24-year-old male. He has a master's degree in global affairs. He's multilingual, Punjabi and Hindi, and he is currently a police officer at Rutgers Newark. He stood out to us as our #1 guy. He really, in interviewing, really blew us away in his answer. He seems has a very calm demeanor, and he understood this was right at the height of protests, and the Minneapolis thing had just happened. So, I mean, he voluntarily brought that up and realized how important it is to mend the relationship between the community and the police, and that really stood out to us. Our #2 guy was Daniel O'Neill. He is a Class 2 in Weehawken. Really did well in the interview also. He has a bachelor's degree from William Patterson, I think. Amandeep, the #1 guy, has a master's degree in global affairs. We spoke, now I'm back on #2, Daniel O'Neill. We spoke with his bosses at Weehawken PD, who are kind of upset that we're taking him, in their words, because they loved him. They were trying to get him some kind of residency in Weehawken so they can hire him. They have a residency requirement for their fully sworn police officers. And then our third, in our ranking, third was Jillian Agnello. She's a 32-year-old female who's currently a police officer at Middlesex County Community College. She has a master's degree in environmental conservation education. She used to be a teacher and decided she had a change of heart after a few years and went in the law enforcement direction. I think I'm hoping that we get approved for all 3 of these. She would be our first female police officer in 20 years, since 2000. She has a great personality, and I think her teaching background will help her in this profession also. I mean, she is already a police officer, but she was looking to get to a municipal department rather than a community college police department. If anyone has any questions about any of them or anything in the process, I'll gladly answer. But those are our top 3 candidates, and we did 5 other background checks. Out of those background checks, we eliminated 1 person, so we have 4 more candidates who are very eligible to be hired if there were any more retirements here, or if something didn't work out with one of these 3. So we are prepared with a list of eligible candidates, rather than going through this, in 6 or 8 or 10 or 12 or 14 months when other people retire. I want to try and keep these guys active for at least a year, these other candidates. But these top 3 stood out to the hiring committee, and I'm pretty sure that they're really going to fit in here and do well.
I just want to say that I did read the information that you sent us, and in addition to what you just said, and I'm very impressed with their credentials. So
Yeah.
I'm sure that they will be a great addition to our force.
Yeah, I find education to be important, and maybe education helps just in general interviewing or how they handle themselves, because I didn't know they had a master's degree, 2 of them going into it, but afterwards I saw, and I thought that that was really good. I'm pro education, and I think it helps on this job immensely. So I think it's a win-win for everybody here.
I totally agree with you.
I also want to compliment you on your choices, Chief. I'm very impressed by their background, and I'm particularly impressed not only by their education, Chief, but where these officers were previously employed, to me means they have a really outstanding set of people skills and a great ability to interact with the community and bond with the community, which is important.
Yeah, we noticed that. That was one of our mindsets going into it. We need, you know, officers who are going to be able to, who want to work with the community and get things, make things better, you know, not just out there to make an arrest every night. Sometimes it's not all about that. Sometimes it's about, you know, shooting hoops with a couple of kids and just doing the right thing.
Great job, Chief. Thank you.
Any other questions for the chief? I think they would be wonderful additions to our department. Just by looking at their backgrounds, I think they would fit in well, and I think they would add something to our department. We're going to learn from them, and I think they're going to learn from us. So, thank you, Chief.
Okay, I'm good.
There
Throw
are
me out.
resolutions on tonight's agenda for to hire each of these individuals, and the effective date of employment would be Monday, August 3rd.
Okay.
Back to vacation.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, good night.
Thanks, Chief.
Have a nice vacation, Chief.
Thank you.
Okay. We're going to move on to new business item number 2, which is NMFD out of service tower ladder. Councilwoman Duffy.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, as you all know, we have taken ownership of our new ladder truck. And so we now have an outdated ladder truck that is not in service anymore. And the department, the chief, has been speaking with Bergenfield, and they would like, they've kind of entered into an agreement that the old ladder truck would go to their training facility in a non-firematic role in training. And Christine, the Chief Murray mentioned that you were gonna somehow coordinate this between the other administrator, or?
That's not exactly how it worked out. We had a preliminary conversation.
Do tell.
We had a preliminary conversation a few months back that included Kevin Kelly about what we can and can't do in terms of, you know, passing along the truck. And at the time that we had the conversation, it was the Bergenfield Fire Department, not the Bergenfield municipality, that was interested in obtaining the truck. They did not want to necessarily go through the municipality. We don't have a mechanism that allows us to transfer ownership of a truck without public auction, except in the incident where if it was going to another governmental agency and it was for a nominal fee, I think we were able to transfer the title. And we conveyed that information to Chief Murray and said that and at the time he said he wasn't sure that they were going to proceed, but if they did, he would have their administration reach out to make the request. I have not received that request. And Kevin, I hope you'll step in if I misstated anything.
No, Christine is accurate. The other complication, first of all, it's disposition of public property. Under state law requires an auction. We can transfer it to an intergovernmental agency under certain circumstances which aren't met yet. Not to say we can't do it if the governing body determines it wants to pursue it. But we also have an added complication with the existing grant for the new truck. And we're supposed to have that out of service. I think based upon what my recollection was and the research I did at the time, if they were to do it for training only, it would be fine, and there would have to be a hold harmless and an agreement in place with the municipality, but we can't just give it from fire department to fire department. That was made clear, and if they'd like to do it, we can certainly pursue it, but at this point, we don't have enough information, and Bergenfield, the municipality, will have to get involved.
Kevin, so what would you say would be the best way to proceed? Would it be our chief to their chief, or our no, it's the administrator to administrator, right?
I think that the chief to chief contact has already been made. We know Chief Murray's them, and they're both sides are interested in it. It's just a question of making it happen in compliance with New Jersey law. So far, we haven't heard from Bergenfield, and they're going to have to indemnify us, hold us harmless, promise it's going to stay out of service. I don't think it's surmountable. It happens, but for right now, we're not there yet. So it would be at the administrator level, I would think.
They would need to contact us to make the request and express interest.
Okay. Thank you.
So if Bergenfield contacts us and they go through the proper channels, the proper paperwork, is everyone on board with transferring it to Bergenfield for training? That's what I'm interested in knowing.
The alternative is to put it out on auction on the website. I forget, it escapes me. It's eGov, Chris, or
GovDeals.com. GovDeals
Right.
is usually what we use.
GovDeals. Generally, they go out of the country or to some other area, but I believe even then it's got to be out of service. And I don't know what value there is. There's some value to a truck, but I don't know if it's significant.
Okay.
And the contact from them should be something formal in writing, not, I don't want to phone call. I want them to put something in writing to us that we can
All
work.
right.
Yeah.
All right.
Same information we convey.
Everyone is
I'll convey that to the chief.
I think we have the same question from the mayor that hasn't really been answered. Is everybody on board with transferring the truck to Bergenfield if we can make all the appropriate, meet all the appropriate requirements, or would you prefer public auction?
I think we could transfer it.
I think if we can transfer it, that would be good. If that falls through, then we'll have to go the auction route. But try to transfer first.
I agree.
Sorry, guys, I'm losing you.
all right. Do we do a roll call on that, Kevin?
I think I didn't hear Councilwoman Sarachi Hurley. I don't know if she agreed or disagreed. If you're all amenable to it, I don't necessarily.
Sorry, anybody, can you hear me?
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
can hear you,
All
yeah.
right, 'cause it's thrown me off as far as the video. I'm trying to get on again.
We're on. We see you.
I'm sorry?
We see you.
Oh, okay, I don't see you. My question is, and I don't know if you just discussed this because I was off for a second. When it goes to auction, if it goes to auction, who receives that?
It goes in the proceeds general coffer.
Hello?
Did you hear?
Are we losing audio?
Yeah, it's coming and going.
It's just Thea that we're having a problem with.
Yeah, I can hear.
I can.
Okay. Sounds like
What is-
everyone is in favor of it.
Well, Thea, your question was, where does the money go?
Yeah, if I did hear all of what you guys were discussing in regard to the auction.
Goes into the general fund.
Are we taking a vote or just
Yeah.
everyone agrees or what?
Pia, to answer your question, in case you missed it, it goes to the general fund. It comes to the borough, the money.
Okay, thank you.
So I don't know that we need a vote because it hasn't been formally presented to us at this point, but as long as we have a direction, I think we can go from there and get everything in place so that once it's in place, we can present it back through Chris to you for formal disposition.
Right, there would be a resolution if we decide, if and when we're ready to move forward, there would be a resolution to transfer it.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Anything else about the tower?
I'll report later on the happenings with the new truck in service, already busy. So it's great.
Okay. Item number 3 is the French Huguenot Cemetery. We have a special guest, our chair of the Historic Preservation Commission with us, and I'm going to turn it over to Councilwoman Siraki Hurley first.
So
If she's
just
still
to
here.
give you a little lead on to this, our chair had ordered the biological solution, the D2, through a particular company, Atlas. And that particular company, Atlas, got in touch with our chairperson that they were looking for historic cemeteries in the state. And I'll let you take it from there, Nancy.
Okay. What I just see was saying, one of the things that we've been concerned about at the cemetery is the condition of some of the old tombstones. And if you can see what I have behind me, that's one of the old sandstone tombstones. And they're very dirty. There's a lot of moss and lichen and other growth on them. And I had consulted various looked at the national standards, Historic Trust, the Park Service, and also a preservation consultant who's done work in the county about, what do you do about these things? Because if it's left untreated, the tombstones can disintegrate and so we wanted to do what we could do, something that was, gentle, not invasive, but preserve the tombstones. And they all recommended this one product, D2 Biological Solutions. The closest vendor for that was a company in Southington, Connecticut by the name of Atlas Preservation. And so I ordered some of the product from there and with the intention that some members of the Historic Commission could go in, you spray this on the tombstones, it will, if you let it do its job, it will remove what's on there and inhibit the growth. They contacted me and said they have a division that's called a gravestone preservation, where they go around to historic cemeteries, and the plan is to do one cemetery in each state where they would conduct a workshop, and the workshop would involve explaining about cemetery preservation, conservation, how to do some of work in cleaning, and they also do work on repairing some of the headstones. What they need is permission from whoever owns the cemetery to go in and actually conduct the workshop. I explained to them that it's a borough-owned property, so we would have to ask the borough if it was okay to do this. This company, they do a lot of work in Connecticut where they're based, but they've given these workshops all over the country. They've done work in Boston. They've done work at the Congressional Cemetery in DC. They've been in North Carolina, Virginia, Wyoming. So they, have done work all over the country. This wouldn't be something where they would do the entire cemetery, but it would be where they could help with a part that in the long run could help us save some money. They could do probably some of the more basic, like resetting a tombstone that is tipped over. They could help us do that. you know, that would help us with the cleaning. If there's something that's broken, they show you techniques for repairing it. Part of this program is to kind of train, you know, groups that are in charge of cemeteries on how they can, you know, take care of it, do some maintenance, preservation, and conservation.
Do they film it?
Oh, they actually do encourage, you know, publicity
Yeah.
and, you know, media to come and do this as well.
Yeah.
You know, it's they like I said, they present the workshop for free, but you know, a part of it is also to kind of, it's not like they would do the entire cemetery in one workshop,
Right.
but it is, you know, it would possibly, you know, it's again helps their business as well, but
Right.
it could help us too.
So
Well,
Sorry.
I'm sorry. Just to finish that thought, if it was filmed, then we could train more people on the commission how to do it properly, you know.
Or yeah, or commission, community volunteers, DPW, whomever.
Right.
That's part of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
There
Well-
aren't a lot of people that do this preservation. I've only come across maybe one other person. So, you know, if there's, you know, some stuff that could be done with training, that would be great. Some of the more intricate stuff you would have to leave up to an expert, you know.
I think it's a great idea, provided we don't have any liability issues. Have you got-
Well, yeah, that was what my concern was. Yeah.
You said they're looking for one cemetery in each state. Is there an application process?
Well, they are looking for picking one cemetery in each state. This would be for next year, 2021. And if we were interested, then they would contact us. I don't know how many other cemeteries they're considering, but you know, when I had contacted them, there weren't too many in New Jersey that they were aware of at this point.
Well, I think it's terrific, and I hope that we can go forward with that.
Nancy, are we the oldest cemetery in New Jersey?
It's the oldest cemetery in Bergen County. It's one of the oldest in New Jersey. I think the oldest one is about 50 years older than than the French burying ground. Our first burial was 1677. The first recorded one is a little later, but we're definitely the oldest in Bergen County.
We'll tell them our 100th anniversary is coming up too. So
yeah,
you know, that might
yeah.
help.
Mm-hmm.
Is the workshop open to like members of the public? Like,
yes, yeah, we could, you know, they publicize it. You know, part of my concern under the current I'm sorry.
are we concerned about having a lot of people in the cemetery?
There would probably be a limit on the number
We
of
could
people.
limit it.
Right, yeah, we could limit registration, you know, to the first. However, and my other concern was under the current restrictions we have for gatherings and stuff like that, we'd have to take that into consideration.
Don't forget, we're talking about 2021 also, right, Nancy?
Right, yeah. So, but yeah, no, I think a workshop like that, it's reasonable to limit registration to, you know, first come, first serve, who's ever interested. So.
Could we also make it for the commission, you know, the people on the committees, the members of the commission only, if we're still at
Yeah.
And it's free. You have to keep emphasizing.
Yeah, his services are free now. I did ask him, and I haven't heard back from him. Are there any ancillary costs that, you know, that might be associated with this? But the, you know, his services are free.
Kevin, do you see any issues with this?
No, they'd certainly have to get a typical indemnity agreement from the JIF that we ordinarily get for any activity. You know, the only concern I could have, and I don't have, is just that we be respectful of the cemetery because that's what was agreed to, and it was donated to the borough. But the fact that we're preserving the headstones, which is necessary to preserve the legacy of the ancestors that are buried there of the Demeray family, I don't see where they would possibly have an issue with it, and I certainly don't. So I think it's a great opportunity for the borough. We could certainly work out the legality of it.
Go for it.
Let's
It
go for it.
sounds exciting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
Thank you, Nancy.
Oh, okay, you're welcome. So
Thank you,
I
Nancy.
will, I will get in touch with
Thank
him
you.
and let him know, and let you know what happens from there. Okay.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Okay, great.
Thank
Thank
you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Before you sign off, can you call me this week just to go over the ordinance?
Sure, sure.
I just wanted to follow up if the commission had any comments.
Okay, okay, can do that.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay,
Bye, Nancy.
bye.
Bye.
Okay, we're going to move on to item number 4, which is schedule updates. So a couple of things. The New Milford Borough Hall will be open to the public by appointment only as of August 3rd. The members of the public can make an appointment with whatever department, and they can get access to the Borough Hall. The recreation basketball courts, as of July 17th, all of the rims have been reinstalled. It's the ones behind the Borough Hall as well as Prospect Park. The New Milford Municipal Alliance Fishing Derby, the annual fishing derby, there's a tentative date for September 12th, and that would be at Hardcastle Pond. More information will follow on that. The New Milford Municipal Alliance has a tentative date of November 15th for their Alcohol and Drug Awareness Memorial Adam event. Last year was their first one, and it was very well attended. It's also at Hardcastle Pond, and for both events, they will be scaled down a bit due to the COVID pandemic. There'll be guidelines and restrictions put in place, but they're hoping to get those events off the ground. October 4th is the Classic Car Show, which is the next item on the agenda, so I'll just mention that. That's in the parking lot of the old ShopRite. On October 3rd is the Cancer Relay for Life. And it will not be an all-night event this year due to the current environment. And rec, full soccer, and travel. The Milford Football Club soccer registration opens on August 4th, and it will run through August 10th. It's 1 week only. We do not know what's going to happen with fall sports yet. We are preparing ourselves, so we have open registration. There will be plenty of guidelines to be followed, and an email went out from Recreation to all of the parents, so they should be getting that today. If not, they got it already, so just a heads up on that. We're trying to move forward with fall sports.
I'm sorry, Mayor, when did you say the Adam event was, please?
The tentative date is November 15th
15.
Thank you.
at Hardcastle Pond, and it's in the, I believe it'll be in the evening. But once these get more set, there will be more information out on it. It'll be advertised. Any other questions on the events? Okay, so that runs into item number 5, which is the River Edge Car Show, Sunday, October 4th. The administrators of that have contacted Larry and Sarah. They do have permission to use the former ShopRite parking lot, the same as they did last year. My conversations with them, due to COVID, it will be a bit of a scaled down version of last year's car show. There'll be more distance between the cars. There'll be other safeguards put in place. This is an event that I believe they only use 1 or 2 of our police officers for traffic. It was very well maintained last year. There was no problems. It was very hot last year. So actually having it in October, I think is going to be a lot better. It's usually in July.
Yeah, there was no shade there at all.
No, it was rough last year, but it went well. There was no one got heat exhaustion or heat stroke, so
Good.
we was lucky.
I think we used auxiliary officers last year.
I saw both. I mean, it could just be on-duty people just stopping by, but there was auxiliary there. So it was, I think it was fine. I don't remember any issues or anything that happened. that would,
No, it went well.
make us think twice about having them again. And obviously, depending on the environment, everything is subject to change. So, but this is what's planned so far. Item number 6 is the Department of Transportation Culvert Grant. Chris, that's you.
Okay, so this grant was a long time in the making. The application was from, I think, 2018, and we finally heard back from the DOT in June to let us know that they had awarded a grant for $225,000 for the Boulevard Culvert, Floral Court Culvert, and the Subin Avenue Culvert project. I had Mazer look at the estimate that was submitted with the application, as the application was for a greater amount than what was awarded, and also because of the time lapse between when we applied and when we're going to do the work. And in fact, some of the things that needed to be done at some of the culverts we've handled in the interim. So after they reviewed, they submitted a budget that I forwarded to the council for the entire project of $213,800. Of that, $131,800 is construction, and $5,000 is for permitting, and another $77,000 is for engineering. Only a portion of the engineering would be covered under the grant. Approximately $20,000 of the inspection fees would be covered by the grant. So there was exposure to the borough, even though the project cost total with design and engineering comes in less than the total grant amount. Because of the fact that not all of the engineering is covered, we'd have exposure of approximately $57,000. I know there were some questions. I talked earlier today with Councilman Grotsky, because of the 3, one of them is the majority of the cost, and there's a factor involved in whether or not the cost that's actually quoted could in fact be higher, depending on whether or not the DEP allows the engineer to proceed with the plan to line the culvert instead of replacing the culvert. In order to line it, they need to prove that the lining wouldn't affect there would be no impact to the stream so they end up doing a study. In order to do that, they have to do calculations pre and post construction to prove that there's no impact on the flow of the stream. And that's one of the, that's one hurdle. If we can do it with the lining, the price that we've been quoted is probably a fair price. If we can't, and the way that that's going to be determined is with a pre-application meeting with the DEP, which they're not actually taking meetings right now. So I asked the engineer on one of our other projects, since they're not taking meetings, they did a letter saying, since you're not meeting, these are the assumptions that we're going on, and unless we hear differently, we're going to proceed under these assumptions. And I said, can we do something similar in this case? And he said, yes, we could. So I wanted to give everybody a chance to see this information and to decide, to figure out any questions that they might have. And if you have questions, if you want to forward them to me in advance of our next meeting, we've invited Kevin Boyer from Mazer to attend our next meeting to discuss the project. The one issue with the one culvert is if we can't line it and we have to go about it the other way, we would have to close it for a month. And so therefore the homeowner that lives on the other side of it would be impacted and would have to leave their home for a month. So I don't know who I need to ask the question of, but I was going to ask Kevin to get his opinion on it. If that were ultimately the case, where we were going to have to go the more extreme route, would we be obligated to cover the cost to relocate the resident for the period of time during construction?
I don't know the answer to that, but I certainly wouldn't, as a member of the public, wouldn't want to be told I have to get out of my house for a month. So I think we have to have a rather pointed and direct conversation with DEP.
Right.
Their
I agree. Absolutely. I said, when Ira and I were talking about it with the engineer, I said, I don't think that's an option. I don't think we have that, we can even pursue that option. So the question then becomes, if the DEP will not allow us to proceed with the liner, do we have any exposure if we decide not to move forward with the project?
I'd have to research that, but and get back to you on it, evaluate that. But we can't just order someone out of their house unless it's an emergency. That's the first step. And the second step is there may be compensation beyond the value of the project. So, we would certainly have to make sure the DEP is aware of what's going on, see what our options are before we did anything like that.
Also, our engineer at the next
We
meeting.
could offer him Ira's house.
Yeah, thanks. No problem. Also, our engineer at the meeting will be coming with a more detailed breakdown of the restoration and repair costs, which were 20.
Actually, Ira,
20,000 and also
Ira.
50,000. Yeah.
Can you speak? I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time hearing you. I don't know.
Yeah, Ira, you're mumbling.
You can't move your head so far away.
Okay, I will start again. Our engineer at the next meeting will come with a detailed breakdown and analysis of that $50,000 cost for engineering fees and the $20,000. It seems to be, when we were talking to him, they have to do certain studies and it's very intricate. So he's going to come to the meeting and also explain that to us also.
I have that information, Ira.
Oh, you got that?
He emailed it to me right before our meeting tonight. So there was I think it's a $45,000 engineering fee for the Steuben culvert.
Mhm.
It's for the design for Steuben, and it says there's a $5,500 survey that's required, and the DEP pre-application meeting is $5,000. Ecological services, $16,500. And design, $18,000. And he said the fees may change slightly once we get more into due diligence and scope the project in conjunction with what the DEP may require, but the overall cost wouldn't change. He said there's a HECRA study, an engineering HECRA study that does that they have to do the pre and post construction to show the impact. And that's one of the reasons that you need the survey.
Chris, is there a timeline on this?
In terms of like when we have to proceed?
Yeah, when we at least should begin or start the project?
No, there's not a timeline. There's not like, it's not as finite as like the Bergen County open space grants where they're pushing you you have to complete by a certain date.
I know everything in the Steuben area is just very sensitive and usually more expensive.
Seems that way, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I'm just curious about the last sentence of that page that describes the fees for the Steuben Ave project. And it just says, if the proposed lining approach is not feasible due to the NJDEP permitting, blah, 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 the total project cost increase of $50,000. So is that on top of the 45?
Yeah, the 50 would be, instead of lining it, we're going to have to replace it completely.
Right.
That's an additional in construction cost, not design.
So
that's on top of?
That's what?
If it cannot be lined, what is the total cost of having to do it the other way?
It would be approximately $150,000 in construction cost for Steuben, and then 45 for the design, 55, 5 for the permitting, and 20 for the project administration.
So then it's 50,000 on top of all that.
But again, I'm going to say, I don't think we necessarily have the means to move forward with it if we can't line it.
Yeah.
So if you
Right.
can't line it, the people have to be, they have to, you know, be removed from their home.
Right. Well,
What?
clearly we don't have the answers, so we'll have to wait until we hear from the engineer.
But
Right.
in this period of time, if there are other questions that you have, if you could forward them to me so I can forward it to Kevin and he can prepare some answers before we have him online. And
Okay.
Okay.
also when we have him that day, I think the plan would be to also talk about the Knights Field concept that we started discussing. We had I think it was at the beginning of the year, because we had talked to the committees and gave them to a point in January to respond. And then we turned it over to the engineer to try and fine tune the concept. And we've had a few meetings with them in the interim as the concept has been refined. And I think we're at a point now where we're ready to bring it back to the council. So we're going to distribute that to everybody prior to our next meeting, and Kevin will be online to review that with us as well.
Excellent.
Okay.
Number 7 is council chambers live streaming system.
Yeah.
Chris again.
Okay. Our last meeting at the end of June, there were some questions from the council about when we might be meeting live again. And at the time we talked about it and we all agreed there's really, at this point in time, it's not something that is possible. But I took it upon myself to survey some of the other towns to see what they're doing. We have a good group of people with open communication. So I sent out a survey to the other clerks in Bergen County to find out what was going on. You know, a lot of people are in the same boat that we're in right now, where they're meeting virtually. There are a few other towns who have started meeting with their governing body in the room, in the council chambers, and then are broadcasting the meeting out to the public. I'm not sure that there's any large benefit for us to do that, because it's not really any different than us doing what we're doing right now. It just brings us all into a room together, which, you know, there are probably pros and cons to that as well. I think this has been working pretty well. But since I had the information, and there's been discussion in the past about whether or not we wanted to do some video on our meetings, and it does, in doing the meetings the way we've been doing them now for the past few months, you know, this platform has opened up our meetings to a wider audience, because people who can't make it to the meeting can either join us live or watch it on our website after I post the meeting the following day. So the people who had told me that they were filming their meetings currently, I asked them, you know, what they were doing. They said, you know, they came back, they have like ceiling mounted cameras and they're live streaming on a YouTube channel. So I got in touch with the people who we work with right now on our sound system to ask what it would take in order to set us up to do that. And I did get a proposal from them. And I compared it to a proposal another town used with the sound people that they're working with, and it was significantly less. So I was happy that it came in at a reasonable price. And I just wanted to share the information, whether or not it's something that we want to consider, you know, looking into doing currently or in the future. You know, the investment, the total investment with the cameras, there's another computer that's involved, and there's also something called a web presenter, which is a streaming program that allows you to stream to the internet. The total would be about $3,700 in order to set that up. And I mean, if there's interest in doing that for the future, you know, I can move forward with the proposal. If it's just something we want to keep in the back pocket and for, you know, future consideration, I just wanted to have the information and share it with you all.
I have a couple of questions. One is, that would be used if we were actually meeting in person, correct?
That's correct.
The other question is, do you know how many people actually look at the videos that you post of our meetings? Is there any way to tell?
I have to be honest with you, I haven't really looked too far into it to find out whether or not I can tell how many views. I know we can tell how many people are going to the website. I don't know if I can tell how many people have viewed the video, but I'll look into it and I'll talk to our web person to find that out.
Thank you. Well, that would be interesting.
I think it's something we should
give us
really-
guidance toward whether we want to go forward with another plan.
I think, video is definitely the way of the future. I think it does present people the ability to watch us at their convenience. So it's something we should really think about going forward when we can meet in, the courtroom together. Because in the future, we may not get people who actually want to come to the meeting. We may not be able to have a certain amount of people in our courtroom, but it still gives people the option.
Right, and there are people.
So I would say let's think about it.
Oh, definitely. I'm all in favor of this. I've thought this was a good idea for a long time. So I'm glad we're moving forward with it.
I have a question related to it. Like, what would the public interaction be like? Would there be call-in? Would there be an option for them to have a video interaction? Would there be someone to call in and so people could ask questions and participate in that way, or would it be only watching only? Do you understand my question? How would the public be able to engage with questions?
Okay, so there would not be a video component, but we certainly could entertain having people call in because there is a phone line in the council chambers, and we could allow people to call in if they wanted to, and that was what the council wanted to do.
Okay. I thank you for looking into that. I look forward to hearing more about it.
I think it's a fascinating idea. Yeah, I really do.
In addition to the $3,700 outlay, is there a monthly fee of any sort or an annual fee?
The only thing I haven't found out is whether or not we'd have any from the YouTube channel that we'd have to set up. I don't know that. I have to double check.
Is there equipment that needs to be, or do they provide with that 3,700?
That's the equipment,
Yes.
the installation.
One following question I have would be accessibility for with closed captioning or ASL or anything like that.
That's going to be our technical abilities. I don't think that we would necessarily have that capability.
Because I'm noticing sometimes there's closed captioning technologies coming more accessible.
We may need to explore that, Chris, because I think it was the beginning of the year, there was an alert, I think, from the league or else one of the...
It was about our website, Kevin.
Right. That's exactly what I'm referring to. And I think we're a year or two away from it, but our website will have to become ADA compliant as well. So just factor that into the equation that we're probably going to have to offer that. I can see if the stream will probably, not to say it's not something you should pursue given the current environment, but we should be mindful.
It's worth looking into for the future. At some point, we'll be back, I suspect. No idea when, but some point.
I just wanted to make sure it was in consideration as you're doing your research.
Good idea. Good idea.
Okay. So we will continue to look into that and options.
Well, I'm going to forward the proposal. I don't know that there's anything else that we need to look into. If there's interest in moving forward after you review the proposal, we would just have to do a resolution to authorize it.
Okay. Any other questions on that? Okay. We have some appointments. These are all for the green team. Very excited to have the green team up and running again. It's been a few years since we had one, and we're looking forward to some great things and some sustainability in the Milford. The list will be Sandy Abb, Stefan Becker, Jeffrey Del Vecchio, William Doobie Jr., Norman Kraus, Anita Pinto, Michael Sternbar-Beakian, and Peter Sullivan. Can I get a motion to appoint them to the green team?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any
Good
opposed?
work, Lisa. Thank you.
Good work,
Good
yes.
good job. Good job.
Thank you. There are a number of
If any-
people online, so go ahead.
That's what I was going to say.
I was going to say, if any of them are currently online with us, I want to thank them for joining and for their service. And congratulations. We're looking forward to great things and green things.
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Okay. We have an ordinance introduction. It will be 2020:10. So Chris, whenever you're ready to read the title.
Yes. Capital ordinance to appropriate the sum of $40,000 for the undertaking of the improvements to the Sutton Place tennis courts in, by, and for the Borough of New Milford in the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, and providing that such sum so appropriated shall be raised from the Open Space Trust Fund of the borough.
So basically what this does is it's going to replace and repair some of the surface at the tennis courts that have gotten damaged over the years due to tree roots and just the location. So it needs a sprucing up. So we have the ability to do it from our Open Space Trust Fund. So at this point, I would ask for a motion to introduce this ordinance on the first reading.
So moved.
Second.
Can I get a roll call, please, Chris?
Yes. Councilwoman Siraki Hurley.
Yes.
Councilman Seymour.
Yes,
Councilwoman Duffy.
Yes.
Council President Grotzky.
Yes.
Councilwoman Sandhusen.
Yes.
Councilwoman Grant.
Yes.
Okay. The public hearing on this ordinance will be at our August 24th meeting. Okay. Has everyone had a chance to look through the resolutions?
Yep.
I am going to ask that 186 through 188 be pulled out for a separate vote.
I had a question on one of them. Was 74, the one about setting an hourly rate for DPW work on borough property. I'm sure it's something you do all the time. What is it?
Okay, so it's similar to, we have like a contractor rate for police. So whenever there's work to be done, like whenever the police department's hired for private duty, there's like a set rate that includes equipment, et cetera, et cetera. We don't have anything like that for the DPW right now. And although they're not called out for private duty, whenever there's something that they need to make a repair to because it's been damaged by somebody, such as, you know, a tree came down or a sign got knocked down because of a traffic accident, or if a sewer line is damaged during somebody's, you know, home construction, we bill the individual who's responsible for the damage. And sometimes it goes to the individual, sometimes it goes to an insurance company. So this will help to streamline that process.
Got it. Thank you.
The question about the defense program, which would be number, where is it? I don't see it.
81.
181.
181, okay, yeah, right.
181.
Does that list the kinds of equipment they can buy or list the kinds of equipment they cannot buy under that program, whether or not it's offered?
It's actually included in the resolution. We already did a resolution earlier in the year and it wasn't specific enough for the Department of Defense. So we needed to put in actual items, which we added to the resolution. That's why it's on it again.
Thank you.
No tanks.
Right.
No thanks.
Bazookas
Thank you.
I'm looking for a helicopter.
or bazookas.
Yeah, you would.
I want some snowmobiles.
I want a tank.
Yeah.
Snowmobile. Yeah.
No. No.
Any other questions with the resolutions?
No.
Okay. I would ask for, you know what, let's go around the table first.
Michael, you wait a minute. You said you wanted to pull out 86 through 88, 86 through 188. Those numbers aren't there.
Yes, I want a separate vote.
Those were the ones that I added them on and sent a new agenda yesterday.
Oops, sorry. Vacation
These are
grant.
these are the resolutions to hire the officers.
Well, those are on there. Just numbers are missing. On my
The new,
copy.
the new agenda has them.
Not on the revised. The revised has the numbers.
Oh, okay.
And before you, since it was an amendment after the bylaw deadline, we should probably just have a motion to approve the amendment to the agenda, and then you can go forward with the resos.
Got it.
Okay.
You want a motion?
I think that would be
Yes,
appropriate.
please.
Okay. Make a motion to amend the agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Okay, let's zoom around. Councilwoman Sandhusen, you're up first.
Well, I want to share my my great enthusiasm for the Green Team appointees. I think I had a great time getting to know everyone. I'm really looking forward to the mayor and council and the other commissions and committees, getting to know this committee as well as they come together. They bring a great diversity of experience and enthusiasm, both professionally and personally. So I'm really looking forward to a dynamic group and something positive that's happening here within the larger scope of 2020. So, and the New Milford Municipal Alliance had their first virtual meeting last Thursday. It went very well. There was a good attendance, and I want to say that they are looking forward to doing their best with their resources. They're looking into some fundraising opportunities. So they're going to be bringing some proposals for that clothing donation box forward. So that will be coming at some point in the future. And the Environmental and Energy Commission is moving forward with their grant that they received. So there's the paperwork's getting finalized, and then they're going to start having meetings again virtually. So be on the lookout for the Environmental and Energy Commission meetings as well. And I'm complete.
Excellent. Councilman Seymour.
Yeah, I just want to echo, I'm really excited about all the work the Green Team is doing. Councilwoman Sandhusen, you're doing a great job with that. Thank you for everything that you're doing.
Thank you. It was not easy virtually finding people, and I want to thank people for all the recommendations, because it was, it was really an interesting process. So
I love your enthusiasm and your energy, and the borough definitely benefits from it. So thank you for working as hard as you've been working, and for your passion and your dedication. It really, I think it's awesome. I also want to really just thank the rec committee and everyone in recreation for working as hard as they're doing to try to get sports back up and running as safely and as quickly as we can get stuff back up and running. Everyone's been so dedicated and working so hard for our borough. And also, I mean, I can't say this enough that I really appreciate the work that our first responders have been doing through this whole period. Whenever I run into these guys and these women and I say thank you, they're very humble, and they don't really think that they're doing anything special, but that's what makes it so special, because we live in a great town, and it's because it is a team effort and a family and a community that it's such a great town that we live in. So I just want to acknowledge all the hard work that everybody's been doing.
Thank you. Councilwoman Duffy.
Yes, good evening, everyone. I have a number of things tonight. the 100th anniversary, Thea and I have been discussing some fundraising ideas and trying to create a menu of items for sponsorships, so sponsorship opportunities. So we're going to try to put together a Zoom meeting ourselves, since Lisa had such good vibes on hers. So that's moving forward. I did sit in on the task force meeting on the 16th for Council President Grotsky. Interesting meeting. Schools talking about trying to get ready to open, the Borough Hall opening by appointment, just a number of things as we go forward. You know, each department is trying to, you know, make lemonade, so to speak, but doing a fantastic job as always. I do want to report, as far as the fire department goes, Thursday, the 23rd, there was a house fire on 289 Henley Ave, and the fire department received a call of smoke coming out of the building, the home. They arrived within a few minutes. I'm kind of summarizing here. They forced entry. They thought they searched for people. There were no people in the house. However, the house was quite crowded with debris and belongings. Made it difficult for them to complete their chores there. And not to mention, it was like 85 degrees at 9:30 at night. So it was just pretty remarkable. Yeah, really bad out. Big thank you to companies from Oradell, River Edge, Dumont, Bergenfield, Paramus, Teaneck, Emerson, Hallworth, Pagoda, Tenafly, and Demarest. So thank you to them for answering. And that speaks, I think, very highly of our New Milford Fire Department, that these departments are at the ready to assist us. So just incredible to stand back and watch our department operate. It was pretty interesting. So thank you to them and all the work they do. And we did have one firefighter with a minor injury. He's fine. But that would be my report for them. And lastly, the Board of Health will be meeting by Zoom also in the next couple of weeks. But I did want to make a mention into the record that the Board of Health's former president, Marlene Slavin, passed away last week. And just take a moment and think about a person that volunteered at the library for 28 years and then was the president of the Board of Health for about another, I don't know, 8 to 10 years. Loved her community, loved serving. So I just say to her family and her friends, thank you for all her years of service. So that's my report tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for everything she's done for our community. She's certainly someone who's definitely made our community better.
Yes.
So we were,
Yes.
you know, sad to hear of her passing.
Yeah.
Council President Grotsky.
I have one thing to report. I've been monitoring in July our tax collections because of the COVID situation. And so far, I'm pleased to report that our taxes are going along fine. Again, we have another tax event coming up beginning August 1st, and we'll see how we stand after the 10th of August.
Great. That's good news. Councilwoman Siraki Hurley.
So I'd like to, I have one report to give, and that has to do with, in the beginning of July, we were notified from Alumni in Recovery a woman by the name of Dee Gillens. She lost her son in 2015, and within that grief and whatnot, she has put together the Black Project poster, of which she had asked us, the borough, which the Municipal Alliance and Stigma Free are joining together. What it is they come, they ask for an area somewhere in the borough hall, a date, a time, that she has approximately over 120 posters of people that have lost their lives to drug addiction. So August is the Overdose Awareness Month, and she had asked us if we'd like to take part. It will not cost the borough anything. It's free. They come in, they set up at the location that we think would be best, which I thought that in front of the Borough Hall Depot would be a good location. They have soft music. They set up the poster. It's 2 hours. There are no speakers. There's no seminars. There's no donation of anything. It's just to solemnly take a look at the faces with the names that have lost their lives to addiction. And she does this every year, and she's doing it actually all over the county and the state. So we had thought that August 8th, I had to give her a date because she's booked, believe it or not. She's quite busy. August 8th, between the hours of 2 and 4. All we have to do is attend, support, not financially by being there, and blast it on social media, let people know. The other thing she's doing, if there is anyone that would like to have a poster of possibly their loved one, there is an application that once we put it out there for social media, that they can send a photo in. She will blow up the poster. It will not cost anything for anyone, and put it out there among the others. She's keeping, she wants everybody to wear masks. It's going to be 6 feet of separation, what the CDC requirements are, and that's it. It's just an awareness program.
I think, I think it's important. I think it's a powerful thing to have, and unfortunately, it doesn't shock me that she's busy and booked all over the state, and that's an unfortunate thing. I don't see any conflict on the 8th, unless
I don't see conflicts, but they would have to meet the same requirements as everybody else, which is they need to provide us a certificate of insurance and a hold harmless agreement that's satisfactory to our risk manager's approval. And we need it well in advance of August 8th. So I'll
get in touch with her. If we get off in time, not too late, I'll call her tonight or email her.
And August is, what is it? Overdose
Awareness Month.
Overdose Awareness Month?
Not August 8th, the month of August.
No, August is Overdose Awareness Month. Okay.
Right. Overdose Awareness Month, correct. And this is the Black Poster Project, different from Black Balloon Day, March 6th. Those are two different things, just so you know. Lisa, anything else? Can you want to add anything else to this?
You covered it well.
Okay. So that will be, put out there on social media. There's that. Stigma Free has been working together. Of course, we're trying to put some sort of outside projects. Maybe, again, I mentioned it at our last meeting, but again, having a yoga instructor to do some outside yoga. The other thing I would just like to mention is that I spoke to the gentleman who's head of the kitchen, in Ascension, as far as whether or not they have enough supplies. There are some things he could use.
The food bank?
The food bank. I'm sorry. Yeah. Did I not say that? Didn't I? No.
You said kitchen.
I did say kitchen, food kitchen I was thinking of. The food bank.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Duffy. The food bank at Ascension. He wanted me to also thank the residents of New Milford who have been more than generous for donating what they have been donating. It has been an overwhelming, and things are just getting a little thinner now, you know. So I think if anybody would like to, they can either get a hold of Ascension or you can call me and I can connect. But just wanted to give a thank you out to those residents, and that we do have a food bank that if anyone does need any assistance, you just pull Ascension up. No names are given. He's the only one that works with you. That's it. That's about it for now.
Thank you. Councilwoman Grant.
Good evening, everybody. The Board of Ed did plan both graduations, and they were held a couple of weeks ago, and they went smoothly, and everybody seems to have been pleased, and the weather was okay. It held out, so it's all good. They are very busy planning for September. They are covering all their bases. I'm really quite impressed with their thoroughness, and I'm not sure, I don't believe that they've actually decided exactly how to go about it, but there are many possible options, including everybody back to school, which probably won't happen, or some back to school, some virtual, or staggering sessions. So we should be finding that out shortly. Let's see, the library, the curbside pickup is going very well. People are enjoying it and it's working out. So that's really good. I do want to also add my condolences to the family of Marlene Slavin. On behalf of the Friends of the Library and the Library Board of Trustees. She was a valued member and did a wonderful job and was also a wonderful, lovely person. So she will be sorely missed by New Milford. She was a volunteer extraordinaire. The library adopted the travel policy, which is similar to the one we have on our resolutions tonight. And I also, the only other thing is the census. I don't have the current response rate, my apologies, but I did read recently that for every person who does not submit their census, the state of New Jersey will lose approximately $1,800 in federal revenue, which is a lot of money. I don't know what portion of that would come to New Milford, but definitely a portion of that would come to us. So we are losing money, the state is losing money. And so it's really, really important for everybody to do their census. It's safe, it's easy, it's confidential, so please do it. Thank you.
That $1,800 is every year also, it's not just a one time.
Oh, right, it's every year, yeah. Yeah, for 10 years, till the
Yes.
next census.
Till the next census.
Right, 2030.
A lot of money. Sign up, people, it's easy.
That's it.
Thank you, Councilwoman Grant. I would agree with you. I think the graduations, the two graduations were very, very nice. They were well attended. They were well run. The earlier one, it was very warm out, but you know, we braved it. It was nice, and I think the parents and the children really appreciated it. Councilwoman Saraki Hurley and I also attended the graduation at the Hovnanian Armenian School. Also, they did a fantastic job, and I think everyone was happy that they were able to do that in person. So the only other thing I want to add is I got the update for tonight, and New Milford's numbers have stayed the same. We have 473 reported confirmed cases of COVID, and we are still at 43 fatalities. So there's been no change since yesterday's numbers. So that's good news. Okay. At this time, I would ask for a motion to open up to the public.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. All comments must be related to the good and welfare of the Borough of New Milford. Individual public comment will be limited to 5 minutes per person as per mayor and council bylaws. So anyone who wants to comment from the public, now is your opportunity. So welcome.
This time we're down to 5 attendees, and I'm just waiting to see if anybody indicates that they wish to speak.
And then we will randomly call on them.
No, we will not. The rules have not changed just because we're not together. Okay, at this time, it doesn't seem as though anybody attending from the public wishes to speak.
Motion to close.
Yep, somebody late to the party.
Okay.
As long as they come.
Okay. Yes, Sullivan, you are.
He's muted.
He's muted.
You have to unmute yourself. I can't do it. There you go.
All right. Good evening. My name is Peter Peter Sullivan. I've been privileged to be on the green team, and I got to know Lisa with exploring what we wanted to do in the green team. I have a very strong interest in trying to get the Hackensack Waterworks building back in operation, and besides to use it to grow fish like aquaponics is to try to build up the soil. And I've had a garden myself all the years that I lived in New Milford, and I wanted to try to build a community garden at the Hackensack Waterworks building property. I've had a garden that has made lots of tomatoes. I grow asparagus and many fig trees. So it's exciting to try to build this in another area that's very close to my house. So we want to do a lot of things. And this was my first meeting at the New Milford, the board meeting here. So
Welcome.
I'm impressed with how well you're organized. Okay, and with that, I'm out.
Mr. Sullivan,
Thank you, Peter.
Mr. Sullivan, can you just give us your address, please?
It's 109 Center Street in New Milford.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And Peter, thank you again for being a part of the green team. We really appreciate it.
Okay, yeah, we have some exciting ideas to try to do, and I'm looking forward to making
I
it.
bet you do.
Thank you, Mr. Sullivan.
Okay, you're very welcome.
Anyone else, Chris?
No.
Motion to close to the public.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we are going to go back to the resolutions.
I have one question.
Can I get a motion?
Wait, it's the revised
Yeah,
travel policy, not the original one, right, Chris?
It's the revised, yes.
Okay, great, thank you.
Can I get a motion on consent resolutions 2020:172 through 2020:185?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay. Now I'd ask for a motion for consent for the hiring of police officer Amandeep Singh, Daniel O'Neill, and Jillian Agnello. It's 2020:186 through 2020:188. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Well, congratulations to our new officers.
Congratulations.
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 Welcome to New Milford.
Is there any other business before this council? If not, I would ask for a motion to adjourn this meeting.
So. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you very much, everyone. Thank you to anyone who was logged on and joined us tonight. And once again, thank you to our newest green team members and our newest officers.
Thank you.
Be well, everyone.
And stay cool.
See you next month.
Yes.
Stay safe.
Hey. Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye. Take it easy.
Bye.